estimate women and the growing support they're providing to the WNBA. Remember, anything successful, you usually have the women behind it, supporting the product.
Don't underestimate the NBA subsidizing.
The NBA and the NFL went to another level once they appealed more to women. What if the women decide we gonna focus and lock in on the WNBA?
No, the NFL started growing once they implemented what's called cheer.
The WNBA has just been rocked by the most catastrophic, explosive, and irreversible scandal in professional sports history, leaving players weeping in locker rooms and fans across the world in absolute disbelief. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has just stepped through the shadows of executive secrecy to execute a nuclear option that nobody saw coming, a permanent, non-negotiable lifetime ban against Brittney Griner. The entire basketball landscape is detonating right now as secret audio tapes, hidden backroom deals, and vicious personal betrayals erupt into the open daylight. What began as a brutal, bloodthirsty physical war on the court against rising megastar Caitlin Clark has spiraled into an all-out apocalyptic corporate execution. Executives are panicking, television networks are issuing emergency broadcast halts, and the league's very foundation is fracturing into total, irrecoverable chaos. Griner's iconic career, built over a decade of dominant championships and international headlines, was just incinerated in a single, devastating heartbeat. Teammates are screaming behind locked doors, rival franchises are scrambling to protect their own dark secrets, and the public is demanding blood. You are watching the ultimate downfall of a titan, a scandal so raw, so corrupt, and so deeply personal that the WNBA will never, ever be the same again. To fully comprehend the sheer magnitude of this historical execution, we have to peel back the dark, suffocating layers of resentment that have been festering inside the WNBA's hidden corridors for months. For years, Brittney Griner reigned supreme as an untouchable, invincible titan of the hard court. She was the immovable force around the rim, a decorated champion, and a global athletic icon who endured unimaginable personal hardship on the international stage to return as the undisputed centerpiece of women's basketball. Her dominance was total, her authority inside the paint absolute, and her status within the league hierarchy seemed completely unassailable. Then came the seismic arrival of Caitlin Clark. Almost overnight, the entire gravitational pull of the sports world shifted away from the decorated veterans who had poured their sweat and blood into building this league from the ground up. Millions of new eyes tuned in, stadium ticket prices skyrocketed into the thousands, and multi-million-dollar broadcast deals began flooding into the front offices. While corporate boardrooms celebrated this unprecedented financial windfall, deep within team locker rooms, a toxic broth of burning jealousy, professional isolation, and deep-seated bitterness began to boil. Veteran superstars felt pushed into the shadows, forced to watch every single highlight reel, endorsement contract, and national broadcast hyper-focus on a rookie who had not yet paid her dues in their physical, unforgiving battleground. Inside the Phoenix Mercury and across opposing locker rooms, a silent pact formed among the league's most hardened physical enforcers. They swore that if the corporate media was going to elevate Clark as an untouchable golden savior, they would make her earn every single inch of hardwood through brutal, relentless physical intimidation. Griner, driven by a deep psychological need to defend her territory and remind the world who truly ruled the league, became the tip of that spear. Behind closed doors, emotional screaming matches broke out between senior players and team representatives over the glaring disparity in officiating and media protection. Veterans openly questioned whether league executives were actively sabotaging older stars to construct a manufactured narrative around Clark's unprecedented rise. As the physical encounters on the court became increasingly violent, the emotional strain on Griner began to manifest in terrifying ways. Friends close to the center reported seeing a player consumed by immense pressure, hypervigilant, and pushed to the absolute brink of psychological exhaustion. She felt cornered by a changing sport that suddenly seemed eager to phase out her legacy in exchange for fresh, highly marketable stardom. The boiling tension created an atmosphere so volatile that every possession against Clark felt like a ticking time bomb waiting to detonate. The emotional history was no longer just about basketball tactics or playoff seeding. It had transformed into a raw, deeply personal war for respect, legacy, and survival. And as the internal league politics grew darker, Griner was unknowingly walking directly into an executive trap that would ultimately destroy everything she had ever built. The ticking time bomb finally detonated during a high-stakes, nationally televised showdown between the Indiana Fever and the Phoenix Mercury. The air inside the arena was thick with raw aggression, but what unfolded on the court quickly escalated far beyond typical physical defense into pure, unchecked violence. From the opening tip, Griner set out to physically break Clark's spirit. Hard fouls turned into reckless shoves, and every trip down the floor brought vicious, uncalled elbows to Clark's ribs. Referee whistles blew repeatedly, but the physical intimidation only intensified. Midway through the third quarter, the powder keg blew sky-high. As Clark drove hard toward the basket, Griner stepped in and launched a brutal, non-basketball swipe that caught Clark directly across the throat and head, slamming the rookie violently onto the hardwood. The crowd gasped in horror as Clark lay motionless for a terrifying moment. Teammates, led by an enraged Sophie Cunningham, rushed the floor in complete fury, surrounding Griner as coaches and security struggled to pull screaming players apart. Technical fouls flew, security swarmed the court, and the arena devolved into utter chaos. Griner was immediately ejected, marching down the tunnel with a dark, defiant glare, while medical personnel rushed to evaluate a visibly shaken Clark. The game was completely eclipsed by the sheer violence of the hit, but the real nightmare was only just beginning behind the steel doors of the visitors' locker room. As media members gathered outside waiting for post-game press conferences, screaming could be heard echoing through the concrete hallways. Then came the first shocking twist that sent earthquake-level shockwaves through the sports universe. Less than 30 minutes after the game concluded, an anonymous burner account on social media dropped a raw, unedited, high-definition audio recording leaked directly from inside the Mercury's locker room. The audio captured Griner in a state of total emotional collapse, violently screaming at league officials and media representatives. But it wasn't just anger. It was an explosive, unhinged rant where Griner allegedly shouted a bizarre, deeply troubling statement. "I'm a grown man. Stop acting like I'm not allowed to play my game." Within seconds, the recording went hyperviral, racking up tens of millions of views and triggering a firestorm of outrage across every major media platform. The sports world halted in absolute paralysis. Networks cut into live programming to play the leaked clip, while fans, influencers, and commentators went into a state of total madness trying to decipher the context. Was it a moment of extreme psychological breakdown under intense pressure, or a catastrophic slip of the tongue that shattered the league's public identity? WNBA executives frantically scrambled to pull down the audio, but the damage was done. The leak had completely exposed the deep, toxic fractures within the league, setting off an unstoppable chain of events that left Griner's career hanging by a microscopic thread. The fallout from the leaked locker room audio instantly threatened to burn the entire WNBA to the ground. As emergency PR units tried in vain to suppress the trending recordings, major television networks faced mounting pressure from outraged corporate sponsors. Multi-million-dollar broadcast partners began threatening to pull live coverage unless immediate, heavy-handed executive action was taken to salvage the league's wholesome public image. Inside the league's high-security headquarters, panic transformed into pure, ruthless corporate coldness. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert called an urgent midnight briefing, but sources close to the front office confirmed that the true control was seized by NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. Silver, recognizing that the multi-billion-dollar brand equity of both leagues was teetering on a razor's edge, bypassed standard administrative protocol entirely. Reports surfaced that Silver initiated a series of high-stakes emergency calls with executive board members, team owners, and high-level legal counsels. The atmosphere behind those closed doors was described as a bloodbath. High-ranking officials openly argued that the combination of extreme physical violence against the league's biggest financial driver, Caitlin Clark, and the radioactive scandal of the leaked recording meant that a simple suspension would be viewed as an embarrassing slap on the wrist. Then came the second major twist that dropped like a megaton warhead on the global sports community. With no prior warning to the Phoenix Mercury or the Players Association, Adam Silver stepped out from behind executive confidentiality to execute the ultimate, unprecedented nuclear sentence, a permanent, lifetime ban from all professional basketball operations for Brittney Griner. The news detonated across news wires with blinding speed. Never in the history of modern professional basketball had an active, decorated superstar been permanently erased from the game overnight, without an extended formal trial or appeal process. The official statement declared that the severity of the physical endangerment, combined with conduct catastrophic to the integrity and public security of the sport, mandated the absolute removal of Griner from the league forever. The locker room at the Mercury facility instantly dissolved into absolute psychological horror. Teammates collapsed to the floor in tears, while veteran players across the league began shouting into their phones, accusing Silver and corporate executives of executing a targeted hit job to protect their newly crowned golden goose. Griner herself was reported to be in a state of complete, paralyzed shock inside her home, surrounded by legal teams as her phone exploded with thousands of messages per minute. The woman who had once been the unbreakable center of international basketball had just been rendered a complete outcast in a matter of hours. Yet, just as the sports landscape tried to process the reality of this lifetime execution, a chilling detail began to emerge from the legal documents drafted during Silver's emergency session. The lifetime ban wasn't just about the court fall or the locker room audio. It was designed to cover up an even darker, deeper corporate secret that was about to be unleashed. The instant news of Brittney Griner's lifetime execution hit the airwaves. The entire sports world disintegrated into an unprecedented public war zone. Across social media, hashtags surrounding Adam Silver, Caitlin Clark, and Griner took over every trending board on Earth. Millions of fans erupted into fierce, opposing camps. Demonstrators organized emergency rallies outside major arenas, waving banners demanding justice for Griner, while counter-protesters rallied in defense of Clark and strict player safety regulations. Inside television network studios, emergency sports specials devolved into unscripted screaming matches. Analysts openly accused Silver of executing a corporate coup to purge veteran physical players and turn the WNBA into a hyper-curated marketing machine for new stars. The emotional fallout hit the players hardest. Team locker rooms across the league turned into cold, silent pressure cookers, filled with paranoia. Superstar players realized that if a legend like Griner could be completely erased overnight, nobody was safe from executive intervention. In Indiana, Caitlin Clark sat surrounded by security detail as public outrage surged outside the Fever facility. Sources close to the team reported that the young guard was deeply shaken, caught in the middle of a vicious war she never asked to wage. Her teammates, including Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston, locked down communication with outside media as viral rumors blamed Clark's unprecedented rise for forcing the league's iron fist. Meanwhile, inside the Phoenix Mercury organization, the emotional devastation turned into pure, boiling rebellion. Several star players threatened an immediate league-wide boycott, refusing to step onto the court for their next scheduled game unless Silver met with union representatives. Locker room staff described scenes of intense grief, with players weeping openly in the hallways as Griner's locker was quietly cleaned out under heavy security supervision. The WNBA Players Association issued an emergency midnight statement declaring Silver's lifetime ban an illegal, authoritarian overreach that violated every labor protection in professional sports history. They promised a scorched-earth legal war to reinstate Griner and expose the corporate motives behind the decision. Yet, as legal teams drafted lawsuits and television broadcasts debated the ethical boundary of Silver's nuclear sentence, the scandal took an even terrifying turn. Anonymous whistleblowers leaked documents hinting that Silver's emergency decision wasn't just a response to the court fall or the locker room audio clip. It was an attempt to silence a secret report that threatened to expose top-level league officials in a massive financial scandal. The scorched earth warfare between Adam Silver, the Players Association, and Griner's legal counsel reached absolute maximum velocity as an unredacted document vanished from the league's cloud server and reappeared on underground sports forums. The file, authenticated by digital forensic experts within minutes, was not just an internal investigation report. It was a classified financial audit detailing an undisclosed, underground backroom deal between top league executives and a consortium of multi-billion-dollar media conglomerates. The audit revealed that months before the fateful match between the Fever and the Mercury, corporate executives had engineered a highly confidential protocol designed to guarantee the long-term protection and aggressive promotion of new marketable stars. Under this hidden directive, referees were quietly given private evaluation mandates that rewarded soft whistle calls for incoming megastars while deliberately turning a blind eye to flagrant, physical retaliation against veteran enforcers. The goal was to engineer a high-scoring, offense-heavy product that would maximize broadcast ratings and skyrocket franchise valuations across the global market. The report proved that Griner had uncovered this exact operational dossier days before her physical clash on the court. Her aggressive play and her explosive, tear-filled locker room rant were not an unhinged breakdown. They were a desperate, raw rebellion against an executive system that was actively rigging the game from the inside. The phrase, "I'm a grown man," had been maliciously edited and distorted in the leaked audio clip to discredit her mental stability and construct an instant narrative for her permanent removal. Silver's sudden, nuclear execution of a lifetime ban was never about player safety or league decorum. It was an emergency corporate hit job executed to bury the whistleblower before she could expose the rigged infrastructure to the federal government. Just as news outlets broke into live broadcasts to analyze the leaked audit, a massive cyber emergency hit the WNBA's media channels. Broadcast feeds went black, social accounts were frozen, and WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert called an emergency, unscripted press conference alongside legal representatives. Standing before a room packed with screaming reporters, Engelbert looked visibly terrified as her voice trembled into the microphones. She dropped the ultimate, game-changing bombshell. A sealed federal subpoena had just been served to the league front office, and an anonymous superstar, who claims to possess the master hard drive containing recorded phone calls between Silver and network executives, is preparing to go live on national television to expose every single co-conspirator involved. Who is the mystery star holding the master hard drive that could bring down Adam Silver and burn the WNBA to the ground? Is it a disgraced Brittney Griner, a rebellious Angel Reese, or Paige Bueckers standing up for the truth? The ultimate reckoning has just begun, and the single greatest cover-up in sports history is about to explode in front of the entire world. Now it is your turn to jump directly into this absolute sports war. Is Adam Silver completely out of line for dropping a lifetime ban, or was this radical corporate decision necessary to protect the WNBA's future? Was Brittney Griner set up by league executives, or did her actions on the court cross every single line of athletic safety? And who do you think is holding that explosive master hard drive? Is it Angel Reese, Paige Bueckers, or someone hidden inside the Fever locker room? Drop your thoughts, hot takes, and predictions down in the comments right now. Do not forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and activate all notifications so you never miss a single second of this unfolding mega scandal. Thank you for watching, and stay locked in as we bring you the next breaking update on this historic league war.